In the deep woods, winding back roads, and forgotten towns of Pennsylvania, folklore isn't just something you hear, it's something you do. These legends are woven from a rich tapestry of oral traditions passed down through many generations and echoing the indigenous cultures that came before us. Many of these stories have little, if any, official documentation. They survive not in books, but in landscape itself. Yeah, anchored into the specific tunnels, lonely roads, and quiet cemeteries around this motherfucker. So what gives it such incredible staying power? It's the innovation. It's the challenge. These stories hand you a set of instructions, a dare that turns you from a passive listener to a active participant. By performing these actions, you create a shared experience. A moment of tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. Do these rituals actually summon the dead? Or do they just summon the belief inside of ourselves? The rituals that keep Pennsylvania ghosts alive. Okay, most ghost stories just want one thing from you, and that's just to listen. But in Pennsylvania, some of the most stubborn legends demand a little bit more than that. They have rules, motherfucker. They give you a task and a ritual to complete. And when you do it, the line between story and reality really gets blurry. This isn't just about the ghosts of Pennsylvania. It's about the rituals we perform to keep them alive. In the deep woods, winding back roads, and forgotten towns of Pennsylvania, folklore isn't just something you hear, it's something you do. These legends are woven from a rich tapestry of oral traditions passed down through many generations and echoing the indigenous cultures that came before us. Many of these stories have little, if any, official documentation. They survive not in books, but in landscape itself. Yeah, anchored into the specific tunnels, lonely roads, and quiet cemeteries around this motherfucker. So what gives it such incredible staying power? It's the innovation. It's the challenge, the ritual. These stories hand you a set of instructions, a dare that turns you from a passive listener to a active participant. By performing these actions, you create a shared experience, a moment of tension so thick you could cut it with a knife, and that strengthens our communal beliefs. The real question is, do these rituals actually summon the dead, or do they just summon the belief inside of ourselves, making the ghosts real enough for those who dare to play along? Today, we're exploring three Pennsylvania's most compelling, particularly legends that see how these rituals create a reality all on their own. Yep. Okay, here we go. We got the abandoned turnpike. Our first stop takes us to a place of decay and silence, the abandoned sections of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, specifically the Rays Hills and the Sidlings Hills tunnels. These massive empty tubes were bypassed back in 1968, left to crumble in the wilderness. But they were never truly abandoned by storytellers. The legends tied to these tunnels are grim, talking about travelers who met tragic ends, and workers buried alive during construction, and even darker figures who are simply there. The stories tap into the universal fear of the dark, forgotten places of the world, but the local legends comes with a specific chilling dare. The ritual goes something like this. You drive into the heart of the tunnel, you stop the car, you kill the lights. Then you wait in total oppressive blackness. The tales claim that if you do, you'll be met by apparitions of those who died there. Some people report seeing ghostly figures walking towards them. Others hear disembodied whispers, and many telling of finding handprints on the dusty windows of their car once their lights are back on. Honestly, the ritual is like a masterclass in freaking yourself the fuck out. By turning off the lights, you're plunging yourself into a sensory deprivation. Without sight, your other senses go into overdrive. Your brain starts trying to find patterns in the silence and the dark, which is a perfect recipe or an auditory or visual hallucination. Every creak of the floor settling, every drop of the water echoing from the ceiling becomes a footstep or a whisper. Anticipation is key. You're there because you expect something to happen. The story has already planted the seed of fear, and the ritual is the water that makes it grow. The encoded tomb-like tunnel makes you feel trapped, and sharing that experience with friends, every nerve is on edge. It bonds you together. When you finally drive out, the story you tell isn't a legend you heard. It's an experience that you've had. You didn't just hear about the ghost, you went there, you went to their home and played on their rules. Next, we're heading to the outskirts of Pittsburgh to a place where a name that sounds like it's pulled straight out of a horror novel. Blue Mist Road. Officially, it's Irvin Road in North Park, but it's dwindling to whatever. It has been a hotspot for locals' folklore for decades. The origin of its nickname is its own story. Some say creepy mist always hung low over the road, while others tie it to the tragic tale of that haunt the area. The legends of Blue Mist Road are a mix of local tragedies and paranormal claims. Stories tell of a woman who hung herself in a nearby house, rumors of lynchings in the woods, and even a strange half-human, half-deer creature that darts between the trees. These tales, whether based in fact or pure fiction, tap into our deepest fears. And just like other Pennsylvania legends, they're tied to the place itself, turning a simple stretch of road into a supernatural stage. This time, the ritual isn't about what you see, it's about what you hear. The legend dares you to drive to a specific spot, often said to be near an old abandoned house, and honk your horn 3 times. It's a direct challenge, an auditory flare sent up into the haunted woods. People who try it report all sorts of chilling responses. The sounds of footsteps approaching in the car, strange lights in the trees, or even a ghostly figure of the hanging woman appearing in the rearview mirror. Psychology, this works by creating a shared auditory focus. Think about it. You're in the dark wood, and you just honk your horns 3 times. You're primed to hear something. Our brains are wired to look for cause and effect. You performed an action. Now you're waiting for the reaction. Now the snap of a twig is no longer a squirrel. It's the thing you just summoned. The hoot of an owl sounds like a mournful cry. Plus sounds do weird things in the wooded enclosed area. Echoes can distort and make it possible to tell where a noise came from. Crankling up and feeling of unease. Honking the horn is like poking a sleeping bear. You make a loud declaration of your presence, and then you wait in a tense silence that follows. It's that intentional act of provocation, proctification that creates the thrill and keeps the legend alive, with each new story adding another layer to the myth. So, what we have seen so far in a lightless tunnel and on a dark road, the ritual is everything. It's the instruction manual for the supernatural encounter. It takes a story and turns it into an event. In both cases, the ritual creates a shared, heightened experience that transforms a passive legend into an active belief system. These aren't just scary stories, they're social events built on dares and expectations. This brings up a fascinating question about our own role in these legends, and we want to know what you think. Have you ever participated in a local ritual like this? Did you experience something you couldn't explain? Let us know your story in the comments below, and if you're enjoying this journey into the heart of the folklore, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. For our final ritual, we're going to the most classic of all haunted settings, the cemetery, specifically Madonna Cemetery in Newcastle, the resting place of a man named Stanislaw Krawczyk, who died in 1927. His grave is marked by a simple tombstone with a photograph of him, but it's this picture and the legend attached to it that draws people here. The story focuses on a strange detail in his portrait, where one of his hands looks white and the other one looks black. While it's possibly just an artifact of old photography or weathering, folklore has spun it into a chilling legend. The story isn't about Stanislaw's life, but is supposed relentlessness and death, a common theme that taps into our anxieties about the afterlife. But what makes this legend stick isn't the story who he was, but the instructions on how to meet him now. The ritual is incredibly specific, with steps that sound like they were pulled from an old spell book. The story goes that if you go to the Stanislaw grave at midnight, just before Halloween, you have to cover his tombstone with a bedsheet. Then you knock 3 times on the stone. If you do it right, Stanislaw himself is said to appear directly behind you. This ritual is a powerful example of how folklores use rule breaking and social bonding to keep itself going. Cemeteries are meant for quiet and respect. This ritual demands you violate that social contract. You go at midnight, your witching hour, you bring a prop, a bed sheet, turning the gravestone into a stage, and you perform a physical act knocking on it as a door between worlds. Breaking that rule creates a powerful rush. It's a dare, almost always done in a group. And taking that risk forges a strong bond. Everyone is nervous, everyone is watching, and everyone is on high alert. The rustle of the leaves, a shadow cast by a tree, and the look on your friend's face in the moonlight, everything becomes a potential sign of that ritual worked. The sign of Stainen's law persists not because of any proof, but because of a dare is just too good to pass up. Every new generation that hears the story and dares each other to try it keeps his ghost alive. So, from the suffocating darkness of the turnpike tunnels to the summoning honk on the Blue Mist Road and the graveyard dare at Madonna Cemetery, the pattern is pretty clear. The ghosts of Pennsylvania are kept alive not just by the stories we tell, but by the rituals that invite us to become part of those stories. These actions, turning off the lights, honking a horn, knocking on a tombstone, are the engines of belief. That they create moments of intense shared emotion that are far more powerful than any story you just listened to. The landscape of Pennsylvania is full of these mystic places, spots that serve as foundations for our deepest fears and curiosities. The rituals give us a way to interact with them, to test the boundary between what's real and what's imagined. So, do these rituals actually summon spirits, or do they just create a perfect psychological storm for us to believe they do? Maybe in the end, there isn't much of a difference because when you're in a dark tunnel and you feel all of a sudden chill, the ghost is real enough, and that experience is what you'll remember, and it's the story that you'll tell, keeping the legend alive for the next person who dares to follow the rules. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.